Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the Hello, My Name is Digital Design project. You're going to have some creative freedom for this project, so I'm going to talk to you about some options. This first project here was created with a photo that I took of a magnolia flower, and I used the vintage photo effect techniques and then added some text on top. Let's take a look at the assignment that inspired this project. If we go to Google Classroom, you can see right here the vintage look photo effect. I use the techniques from this video, so you can go back and look at that if you need to. I also used these textures here, so you may have to go back and download those so that you can use them also if you choose to do this effect. Let's go back to Photoshop. So for my project, let me go back to the original photo and talk to you about it. So here's the magnolia. I added my concrete texture on top and changed the blend mode to overlay. Then I thought it was a little bit too bright, so I used a adjustment layer and changed it to black and white, but I decreased the opacity to 61%, so it's a little bit faded. Then I wanted to make it more contrasty, so I added a brightness and contrast adjustment layer, and this was what I ended up with, and I really like this effect. So the next thing that I did was add my text. So we need to, part of the project criteria is to put somewhere on the project, hello, my name is. I thought that this was a dark area right here, so my text would show up. And I also liked the way there is this little, almost like a little notch where the text would just fit into that area. Then I put my name, and your name is kind of one of the most important parts. So I chose to make it really large, and I put it in this spot where there's a gap between the petals and tilted it sideways. Then I put "and I like gardening." So I chose this flower to go with the theme of gardening. In this example, I used a photograph that I took of a dove, and I used the blend modes and brushes techniques. So let's take a look at that in Google Classroom. It is right here. So here are the brushes that you can use, although there are other brushes available. And this is the video that has the techniques in it if you need to go back and review that. So back in Photoshop, let me turn off all the layers here. So what I did was added some brush strokes and color and changed the blend mode. Then I added a few more brush strokes on different layers and then added my text. So I started off with hello, and I put it up here on this branch because it was kind of making a little shelf that to hold the text, and you can see that I tilted it slightly to the side. And then I added my on a separate text layer, name is, and my name, Justine. So following the curve of the branch. And I had to make each of those separately and tilt them so that they would fit the curve of the branch. And then the other branch, I said, and I like bird watching. And that is why I chose this photo to represent me. So for this project, you can basically use any of the Photoshop tutorials that we've done so far, or any other knowledge that you have about Photoshop, and combine it with the concept of hello, my name is, and then a photograph that represents something you like, and adding the text to it. One thing that I need to talk to you about in order to do this project is text. So over here in the toolbox, go ahead and click on the text tool and then click somewhere on your project. You can see that some placeholder text is written. I am going to write hello, and now I'm going to click and drag to highlight this text. So in order to change the size of it, you can look up here at the menu across the top. You can see right now it's set for 250. So I could highlight that, and let's say I want to change it to 500 and then hit enter. And you can see how large the text is. What if you want to change the color? Well, while I still have the text highlighted, I can go up here and click on this color chip. Right now it's white, and I get this color picker. So let's say I wanted to make it this bright yellow color, and then I can click OK, and now it is bright yellow. Now, how do I move this or rotate it so that it can match the angle of the branch? I'm going to get the move tool, click on the text, drag it in the general area where I want it, and then double check that this checkbox is on, which says Show Transform Controls, and that gives you the handles around the outside of the box. Now I'm going to hover the cursor close to the corner until I get the rotation arrow. Then I'm going to click and drag, and just by my eye, I'm going to try to get this to be approximately the right angle, and that looks pretty good. So once I have it where I want it, you can either hit enter or click the check mark on the menu bar at the top. I'm going to show you one more way that you can manipulate the text, and that is text warp. So I'll again grab the text tool, and this time I'm going to say, and I like bird watching. And you see that it has the same attributes that I used for the last thing that I wrote. So I do think this is a little bit too large. So I'm going to make this back down to 250. So highlight the text, go up to the menu on the top, type in whatever number you want. And I'd also like to point out that you can open this little menu here and choose these font sizes, but it only goes up to 72. So you do have to type higher numbers right into this box. And let me go ahead and change the color again. So I'll click here. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use the eyedropper and try to get this blue color. Yeah, so by clicking on that little drop right there, it made it the same color. And I'll go ahead and click OK. So now what I'm going to do is do something called warp. Go ahead and go to Type Warp Text, and I'm going to choose an arc, and you get a preview of what that can look like. Then I can make it more or less and adjust it the way that I want. Maybe I can put that down here. And now I'm going to click OK, and I can still rotate this too. So I'm going to click on the move tool so that I get the handles on the outside, and then I'll go ahead and rotate that and try to get it to match this branch down here. So it's not exactly doing what I want it to do, but I think you get the idea. There are many more ways that you can control and manipulate text. This is just two ways that I'm showing you today for this project. Here is the project criteria. Use a photo that you took. Choose a subject that represents you. The design should be complex and multi-layered. For example, use fill or adjustment layers. Use techniques learned in previous tutorials and or other knowledge you have of Photoshop. And finally, use an original font that supports the design. Let me show you how to change the font really quick. With the text tool, highlight the text you'd like to change, go up to this menu on the top bar, and then you can scroll through all sorts of different texts until you choose one that you like. That goes along with the other aspects of your design. And then once you choose it, click the check mark to make your changes. All right, that's it for this video, everyone. Have fun!